John chapter 16. I've said all these things to you to keep you from falling away. They will put you out of the synagogues. Indeed, the hour is coming when whoever kills you will think he is offering God a service. And they will do these things because they have not known the Father nor me. But I've said these things to you that when their hour comes, you will remember that I told them to you. I didn't say these things to you from the beginning because I was with you. But now I'm going to him who sent me, and none of you ask me, where are you going? But because I've said these things to you, sorrow has filled your hearts. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is to your advantage that I go away. For if I do not go away, the Helper will not come to you. But if I go, I will send him to you. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. You don't get saved and think, Emmanuel, you don't think now that I'm saved, everything is hunky-dory. No. You come to Christ and people look at you funny. You come to Christ and people talk about you. You come to Christ. And of course, we've not suffered unto death as some Christians are suffering in the world, but there is suffering here in this world. And I want you to understand, my brothers and sisters, that it should not come as a surprise. Judas scampered into that eternal black night. Peter's mind is boggled with the bleak prediction of his denial. The Sanhedrin is blatantly and boldly preparing their legal attack against Jesus. The disciples' burdened hearts palpitate with sorrow, and Jesus blissfully announces, I'm leaving. My grandfather would say, I wished I could preach sometime. He announces his departure, I'm leaving, his destination, and he doesn't stop until he leaves a deputy. Jesus says, I've said these things to you that you may remain. You see it there in your bulletin. That you may remain. Verse 1, and that you may remember. Verse 4, and that you may recoup. Verse 7. Good gracious, I got to move on. Forgive me. May I say very quickly, Jesus, he's speaking to these guys, and he want to make sure they do not get caught off guard. And he says, I'm telling you these things because I want you to remember. And he says, not only that, in this world where things are difficult, I'm going to send you a helper. There's somebody I have deputized. And that person, that helper will come. Let me see if I can run through this real quick. I apologize for being so long. That song put us off, didn't it? Jesus said these things so that we would remain. This is the help he's given us so that we would remain. Verse 1, he says, I said these things to keep you from falling away. You remember maybe as a child, perhaps you're trying to catch some squirrel or a rabbit, and you might take a box and put a stick under that box and attach whatever food you were luring the animal to the stick on a string. And when that animal would take that morsel, it would pull the string, pull the stick, and trap the animal. You remember that? Well, that's what this word means at the core. First of all, it means to fall away means to disbelieve. He says, I am telling you this so that you won't be caught in disbelief. He says, when the world comes against you, I don't want you to get caught. He says, I don't want you to get caught. I don't want it to be a snare for you. I don't want it to be a surprise when the world comes against you. I'm telling you this. I'm giving you the word so that you won't take the cheese. When the world comes against you and tries to cause you to suffer, and in the middle of your suffering you say, oh, why me, and why am I going through this? And all of a sudden you say, you know what, I just want to give up. Jesus says, no. I'm telling you these words so that when it happens, you won't get caught. Are y'all tracking? I'm trying to move on quickly here. He says, I want to help you avoid capture. Then Jesus says, I want to help you remember. I want you to remember what it is I'm saying. He says, I've said these things that you may remember that I told them to you. Look at verse 2. He says, the hour is coming. Verse 4, when their hour comes. He says in verse 8, when he comes. Verse 13, when the Spirit of truth comes. I want to tell you, and I'm excited about it, I want to tell you that when the world comes against you, Jesus has given us his word so that we can anticipate the person who's coming. Oh, I don't know if I said it well enough. He says, the hour is coming, but so is he. He says, the time is coming, but so is the truth. That's good news. He says, I just want you to remember that. I just want you to keep that on your mind so that when you are going through, I don't want you to flee or to forget. He says, I want you to remain and remember. Are y'all hear what I'm saying? He says, I've given you the word. Keep this on your mind. It's like the mother who dropped the little girl, freshman, off at college. And before she did, she took the girl's favorite book and wrote in the front flap of the book, you got this. And every time the girl would have difficulty in her life, she'd go back to the front book of the book and she'd read where her mother said, you got this. And even though people were difficult and teachers were unnecessarily difficult and times were difficult, she could read that message and remember the words of a mother, you got this. And that's all that Jesus is doing for his disciples, and ultimately you and I, the word here for us. He's saying, I knew you were going to get that. He says, you got this. And no matter how difficult it gets in your life. Terry, I ain't going nowhere. I'm just excited. I get to calm down. Sean, I want you to understand, you got this. And I know that they don't like you. I'm not going nowhere. I got to finish this last point. Forgive me. But you got this. Sickness in your body. Insurance won't pay. You got this. No! Family members won't act right. Ostracizing you, writing you out the will. Don't worry. You got this. Your colleagues looking at you funny because you pray over your food before you eat. Don't worry about it. You got this. Bills keep mounting up and you trying your very best to do what's right. Okay, I got to calm down. You got this. But I got last thing I want to tell you. I want to tell you now. He says, I want you to remain. I want you to remember, but I'm telling you this so that you can recoup. I want to tell you. He said, I'm telling you the truth. It is to your advantage that I go away. If I do not go away, the helper will not come to you, but if I go away, I will send him to you. He says, it is to your gain. It is advantageous. It is to your benefit. It's a part of the strategy. It's valuable to you if I leave. He says, my absence is predicated on his arrival. Crosby, if I don't leave, he can't come. He says, now I'm leaving, but you're going to gain back your loss. For the causes of God, I do apologize, forgive me. But Job, can I borrow some moments? Well, we've got 3 people that I can go ahead. The rest of y'all, I don't know. Let's see. We'll see what happens. Job lost everything that he had, but because he trusted God, he recouped all that he lost. Let me try it again. David, 1 Samuel 30, his family is down in Ziklag, and the Amalekites come in, and they take his family and his fortune, and they run off with it. And David prayed, and God told David, pursue, overtake, and recover all. He says, you prayed and you asked, you did the right thing, you talked to me, and as a result of your prayer, you lost, but as a result of your prayer, I give you the authority to pursue, overtake, and get all that was lost. You can recoup. Let's see if I can try it again. I went to the tire shop the other day, and by the way, parenthetically, tires are expensive. Went to the tire shop, and I don't know what they were doing back there, but they scratched the rim, and they brought it out to me. They wanted me to see where they scratched the rim, and this is what the technician said to me. He said, Mr. McSwain, I know what kind of vehicle this is, and I am looking at the wheels that you have on your vehicle. Because this one is scratched, let me tell you what we can do. We can take this one away and you lose that wheel. But we can give you another wheel, just like that wheel, to match all the other wheels. Y'all are normally with me. Let me try it again. Jesus says, I'm leaving. But I'm going to give you another wheel to replace this wheel that's just like this wheel. Listen now, I want to tell you, he said, listen now, I'm sending you my deputy. Somebody to act in my place. He says, when the Spirit of truth comes, you will recoup all that you lost. Say to them, listen now, sometime when I took Peter, James, and John to the mountain of transfiguration. Says, when I was there, I couldn't be with the rest of y'all. But now, when the Holy Spirit comes, he can be everywhere at the same time. Ooh, wish I had time to talk about it. But listen now, I want to tell you, Judas scampered off into the bleak night of his soul. Peter, his mind recoils with the bleak prediction of his future denial. Sanhedrin are blatantly preparing their legal war against Jesus. The disciples are burdened with the sorrow on their hearts. But Jesus is blissful. He said, boys, I'm leaving you. He tells them of the departure, the destination, and he says, remember my deputy. He says, I'm leaving you the Holy Spirit. You've seen on television, and I apologize, but you've seen on television when people are stranded at various places, whether in some desolate place or on some abandoned island, they find some refuse to make out the word help, so that if anybody is flying over, passing by, they're able to see that they are in distress. I want you to understand that Jesus is transcendent. Even though he was right there with the disciples, he was able to have a bird's eye view. And he read their hearts. And on their hearts, they were distressed and they were saying, help. And Jesus says, I'm going to send you some help. Isn't that good news? Isn't that good news that Jesus is looking over your hearts right now? And he can tell when you're in trouble. And he can tell when you have sorrow. And he knows that you need help in the Holy Spirit. That's why the old folks say, what? He may not come when you want him. Look, I got to tell you, and I'm leaving you alone here, but Paul knew this help. He says, we are afflicted in every way. But I want to tell you, he says, but we're not crushed. Daily in our lives we are perplexed. But let me tell you, we're not driven to despair. Oh, I wish I had time to talk to y'all. He says, we are persecuted, but not forsaken. And every now and then we're struck down, but not destroyed. I know I'm laboring the issue. He says, always carrying in the body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may be manifested in our own bodies. And for we who live are always being given over to death, not for my sake, but for Jesus' sake. Then he said, so that the life of Jesus also may be manifested in our mortal flesh. Why, when I suffer, people are able to look at my life and say, I see Jesus in the suffering. You ought to cry so that people see joy in your tears. You ought to moan so that people hear joy in your moaning. You ought to sing. I know. Don't do nothing. Just I know. I get too excited. I know. But I'm just trying to say, and I know I'm done, guys. But Sharon, all I'm trying to say, Mother Tracy, what I'm trying to say, look, I'm trying to say that Jesus gives me joy through the Holy Spirit. And y'all might as well let me say it, Jerry Roy. Y'all might as well let me say it like I want to say it now. Look, this joy that I have, y'all ain't saying nothing. This joy that I have, let me tell you about it. The world didn't give it. Y'all don't seem happy about that. The world